Hey there team, and welcome back to Silmarilion Total War. This is a battle that I wasn't originally going to do because it's not really a traditional battle. It was much more just Blindness and I kind of messing about and testing units against each other. But I just thought I was going to be cleansing out my replay folders and such anyway, so I was like, oh, why not just do this and have this as one of the battles that comes out while I'm away, just to break up the constant reforged, nothing but reforged. So I thought I'll have a random Silmarillion come out. I'm using one of my favorite factions, one of my two favorite factions, in the Elves of Osirian here, up against the Dominion of Tarangaroth. I think we'll see. We'll read the name when it comes in, but it's something like that. Just Dominion, Sauron's boys. Either way. So I am the Green Elves here. At the front lines, I've got my skirmishers here, or skirmishers of Rathloriel. Not Rathloriel, sorry, Rathloriel. And as I say, I like those guys because normally hybrid units I'm not a fan of them, but these guys are really quite good, and they take out their two blades, and they really become solid frontline units, and it just allows me as the Green Elves to put more arrows down range. Behind them though, to guard them from the wargs that they'll be facing up against today, I've got the spear hosts of Rathloriel. Then my Mithrin in Tolgallan, the Mace Boys there, along with them the Erfin Tower. Let's go for that. My two-handed axe, more skilled, more elite archers. I've got them all along the line, and then I've got the detachment unit of them as my general's bodyguard. That's pretty common for the Green Elves I've seen, and then the spear host in the back. It's my sort of floating spears. I've grabbed my Ents there, have a bit of fun with them, and the Outriders over on the far side here. 2 units of Outride? No, sorry, 1 sentries. I decided to test out the sentries. You know, horse archers are really not my thing, but I was like, why not? Just give them a go. And also, horse archers I find are great up against wargs. Because wargs don't have much armor and they usually don't have shields. Then the Outriders next to them. Let's slow it on down a bit. Another unit of these mace infantry at the back, and then 2 units of these two-handed spears, the spear host of Gellion, who I just quite like. I really enjoyed this map. I thought it was a really cool just place to have a battle in amongst this village here. It was nice. And then over on the far side, we've got Blindness, who is Viewingness in this case, because he's silly and he likes to change his name. He's got his howlers out front. Nothing else hiding around them, or not that we can see anyway. The Scarahai trappers there with their little javelins, or they're javelins, all the way along the line. Behind them, a nice beefy swarm of wargs. I'm sorry, I can't. Lug Skaraz Gulglub. Let's go for that. I couldn't tell you much about these units. Smaller, slightly bigger. So probably these are all the like medium tier units of them, and then this is a much more skilled one. It's not the flame throwing one though. And then we've got these javelin throwers all the way along. Yeah, so he's got a lot of javelins he can put down range, and then these are definitely the best of the best. So quite fearsome guys there. As for the hilltop, he's got the Chixcaras, yeah, Chosen, who I really liked, and the Wolf Guard next to them. Their maces are not going to do too great up against me, but it's mainly just that's a decent quality mainline unit. That's all there is to it. And then he's actually got an Orc Mangonel, so it's always fun to see the Mangonels get used, so I like that. Anyway, let's jump up into normal speed then. So him having this artillery piece, I just like the look of this map. It's a bit, it's a pretty funky ground texture, but it's cool. Let's see, is there something fun I can maybe... yeah, let's go for like that. That looks kind of nice. It's a bit... No, let's let the cavalry run through. Yeah, cool. Something like that might work. It's that, or I'll come back and get version 2 shaders for these buildings, because it does make buildings look a hell of a lot better. Anyway, moving up my skirmishers. Normally, I'm a big fan of just keeping my entire army together, but with this very unusual landscape, I can't do that. So I've got to split them out and get them sent up bit by bit. The skirmishers, though, I'm not really too worried about the charge from these guys, and I know I can send a lot of arrows at them before they get to me, so I'm unloading on them. And then I also do have my own horse. Yeah, good. So I've got the Outriders coming up forward. Outriders have got an anti-cavalry bonus, but the wargs are still going to be able to beat them. Generally, you know, yeah, I see we're already losing a few horses there, jeepers sake. But the main thing there was just coming in to save my skirmishers. That was all I was really trying to achieve there. Because, yep, Outriders almost done. Well, they lost a good few of them. And that was with a lot of archer support coming out from over there as well. So I've got this building here that I'm going to be able to use as a bit of cover. Ooh, firing up and over, boys. Try to avoid that if we can. Yeah, looks like these guys did too. Oh, that's a really nice bow, isn't it? Yeah. So I like to kind of rely upon these skirmishers just so that I can get, you know, more archers on the field. The Green Elves do have some more dedicated archers, but I think their skirmishers are kind of good enough, especially when you're going up against the elves. Maybe, well, sorry, the orcs. Maybe if you were going up against someone like, well, I don't know, maybe even Doriath, say, a faction that can really, they can outdo you with their archers. You might want to go heavier into your skilled archers instead, so that could be an option. Because you got his howlers up there. As I say, I'm not really too scared of the howlers in melee. It's more just the fact that they are locked to morale, and they'll soak up my arrow fire. If I get my spear host over here, probably the beefiest unit that the Green Elves can really bring to the field. You know, they've got a decent shield on them. They may not really have great armor, but that's something. I've got my horse archers moving around here. The sentries of Gelion, who will really, yeah, fare pretty nicely up against a lot of these wargs that are going to be coming at them. The Hishbukraz hunters here, very poor quality archers, but he's going to just be unloading out onto my spear host. It's a bit unfortunate, but it's kind of just the way that things have to go. Like, I'd much rather he just unloads on my spear host than anything else. Those lower damage arrows are not going to do too much. Oh, jeepers sake. Yeah, good. Luckily this missed me here. Some flaming barrels coming flying at my men. We're burning down this poor village, this human village that we've decided to have our battle in. So hopefully the Green Elves have been nice enough to warn the humans and get them out of here before the clash has begun. But here was something that I was quite interested in checking out. Just the effectiveness of my sentries in this sort of confrontation. And my sentries are just sort of running away from them, just firing as we go, and picking them off bit by bit. And it really is that just speed advantage that I have over these wargs that is allowing me to do this quite nicely. And he's just picking them off because they've got just very low armor. And yeah, you're already seeing the amount of casualties I was able to deal with the sentries of Gelion, and yeah, they've performed very well for me. Some Ishprokraz boys there with their javelins are coming on forward to rain some hell onto my skirmish. Oh, okay, right. That is the fire projectile, boys. Okay, which is of course very good up against these lower armor units. So if I was, you know, my Western brothers, maybe this wouldn't be an issue to me, but since I don't wear much armor, I'm dropping like flies to that fire. But I am nice and swift, so I managed to catch him, and you can really see the strength of these skirmishers in melee. You know, this is they are not just like the Lake Town infantry or anything of that nature. They really, once they pull out their two swords, they can give as good as they get. And so I'm pretty impressed with them. Even with a lot of this hunter fire, we're actually being shielded by a bit of it. But as I say, this was the main thing that I was focusing on, and we were able to just take them all out. The Outriders came over here to help, but by the time the wargs had actually reached the sentries, even though the sentries were, of course, outmatched in that melee engagement, we outnumbered them so much that we were just able to pick them off, and I don't actually see any casualties here. So that surprised both Blindness and I. We were quite impressed by their skill there, and it definitely is an important tool to have. Well, let's actually zoom in the map. We're not really using too much of it. So Spear Host coming forward, actually struggling up against the Hishbrakaz Howlers, but I think that this is more a case of taking arrow fire rather than the Howlers actually wrecking shop. But yeah, because you are seeing coming into effect. Now, Hishbrakaz Howlers really have a low amount of damage. They really don't do enough damage. Well, I'm not saying they don't do very much damage. And so up against the incredible defensive skill of the spear host, with the fact that they are elves and the fact they are using spears and they have a nice shield, it's not enough. So it's going to be slow progress, but we're making our way through. And every single one of these howlers is going to have to die. They're not gonna stop. It was kind of sneaky, just sliding through here, and I was able to trap that unit of wargs that we saw. You know, sort of they came up through this way, and I managed to sort of slip through the fields in a path that we didn't really know could be taken. But yeah, the spear host of Rathloriel is little by little stabbing their way through the howlers. But the real nasty meat of these warg forces is still to come, and my spears have been locked into melee. I've got some more spears coming forward now, but still. And some of these poor skirmishers have taken a beating from archer fire, and lacking a shield, they're really not that great, you know, at taking arrow fire. So I think they might be going down in a minute. Behind them, we've got some mace men. Actually, nope, sorry, these are the archers, sort of heavy archers, who will, their armor, their slightly better armor allows them to do a hell of a lot better than the skirmishers do. The skirmishers are hiding there, interesting, okay, cool. That's another thing about the Green Elves, of course, just where everything can hide. This arc is not something that I thought was happening, but Elven archers, you can really mistreat them like this. You couldn't do something like this with many factions, but the Elven accuracy is really carrying me through a bit. Let's zoom on in a bit more just to see the bundled up formation there. The Ents are coming up now. 8 of them. Some of them had actually died from flaming barrels, unfortunately, so that's why there's not as many as there were before. I think I've lost some. Let's have a look back, see if we can see any Ent bodies. Not spotting any. Maybe I haven't lost any. I thought I did, but still got a few things in reserve. Still got a few of my archers, so we're not feeling too bad. What are we at now? We're at 23 for 28, so we aren't actually too far ahead. Even though we've kind of been winning all of our engagements, the Dominion just have so many men to throw at us. It's a real frightening thing. And Blindness managed to slip around my back, and there's no anti-cavalry forces here, so I'm kind of having to use these macemen as just to lock that unit in place, get these archers turned around, and hack into the legs of those wolves. They're still pushing around, and my spear host of Galleon have emerged. Very, very lightly armored. I love the model for these guys. I love their spears. Really, you know, of course they're you know, males, but it makes me think of like the war dancers from Warhammer. If anybody sort of sees them, they're you know. So I really love using like the spear spear war dancers. It's a really cool unit. And because he's slotted this cavalry unit into my back, if he had much more ammunition, he could really start to pour it into my front. Ah, no, there's still a few of these hunters. Ah, I see some out-of-ammunition hunters that came forward. My Ents, still nice and healthy. Loving that engagement. And oh yeah, I think there was something weird with it. Was the mangonel regaining ammunition or something? I don't know, I'll have to talk to Blindness about that. Whoa, I was very lucky there. These spear hosts could have been absolutely devoured there by a blast from that mangonel. But still, the Scarahai trappers are actually eating them, and I'm turning around for some reason. Why am I doing that? I could have connected already. These poor skirmishers, I don't blame them for running. Ah, yeah, I really have taken so much more fire than I should have there. That's actually kind of a cool sight. That burning, yeah, that's pretty cool. I think we'll roll with that. Burning building in the background is quite a nice shot for it. Scarahai trappers, they're thrown into melee and just outnumbering my men a lot. And since I've been very conservative with my outriders, I can do some charging. They're spear cavalry, so they do have an anti-cavalry bonus, but they're not only anti-cavalry. A lot of fire from these Hesperkraz boys. Well, very literal fire coming into these guys. But luckily for me, it's not great up against armor. And these are about as armored as my units get. Still losing a lot of them though, but that left side, luckily my shields are coming into effect there too. Scarahai trappers here broken, that's a large unit to break. 123, but I've got them basically surrounded on all sides. So I don't blame them for running, really. The Ents charging on through. A few of those skirmishers taking a nasty charge there, but it's just allowing the Ents to get on through to the back lines, as the Chosen and the Spear Host or Spear Guard? Oh, sorry, Chosen and the Wolf Guard, yeah, come on forward. And my Spear Hosts are having to go on forward. Oops, sorry about that. This is probably the best unit that could be going toe-to-toe with the Wolf Guard, of course, with their maces coming cracking on down. It's just not going to be what, it's not really what you want for a lightly armoured, wood elf with a spear. Managed to lock down that mangonel so it will no longer be troubling me. And but I'd saying that the same thing with me. I've got these big two-handed axes, and the Dominion forces are not really the most armoured. But luckily for me, they're fighting the Chosen right now, so it's not too bad. The Wolfborn have charged forward. These are the real elite cream of the crop. But I was able to kind of absorb that charge by the looks of things, or it wasn't really. They didn't really properly get the charge off, so that was nice. And they're having to fall back. You can see the general there. Currently, it's a temporary Azog that we have leading the Dominion, but that will change. Some more axemen now. They were archers, of course, but now they are axemen. Trying to just grab the Wolfborn, who are going to be running riot for a bit. We're about to see a pretty nasty charge up against my important guys here. Wasn't a quick charge, but it was definitely brutal. That was me down to half of my men there, and I went down from 85, I think, down to 50. 51. 50 now. Jeepers sake, that was bloody. So you can see it was quite a slow moving charge, but it carried a lot of weight with it. And we're now at 55 for 65, so I am pulling ahead a bit now, as this main line is clashing. But where the Wolf Guard and the Chosen are fighting against my men, they are pulling through. It really is just the Ents that are tearing things up. It's a good thing the Ents are not really going toe-to-toe with the Wolf Guard. Their little AP maces could do some good work against them. But I'm definitely winning on this flank as I'm curling around them. It really is kind of the centre and the left that I'm struggling. Yeah, even my these two-handed axes just not really doing too great. Oh, the Ash Priests are over here. The Ash Priests, you look at them and you don't really think they're too good, but they are exceptional. Of course, they've used up their ammunition by this point. Very high damage, fire projectiles, but now they are just using their big two-handed axes, which are quite messy, to say the least. So I've had to just sacrifice one of my units there just to hold them back as long as they can, really, while we hope to win elsewhere on the field. The Chosen are actually doing really well up against my two-handed axes. Because those Chosen do rely on a bit of armor. Definitely one of the only Dominion forces that do. So you'd hope that my two-handed axes would be doing some good work. But the general falling there, though, is going to be a big game changer, as the morale of the Dominion is just not going to be able to hold out. We've got a break over here. The Ents were definitely a big part of that, but I'm sure the general dying didn't help. A break over in this centre, and I really did breathe a sigh of relief, because I was a bit frightened for a while. Something that I do enjoy about this, and I mentioned that to Blindness, is that the artillery crews are actually trained and legitimate soldiers. It's something that has always kind of displeased me about the base game and every Total War game. It's that just the artillery crews just happen to always be totally unprepared, totally, pathetic fighters. I'm not saying I want them to be in any way, shape or form elite, but, I just never liked the idea that they couldn't fight ever. So it's a cool change of pace that the artillery crews can actually stand their ground. So, of course, and it's kind of funny, of course, that this more fanatical Dominion men have to borrow the skilled artillerists from their from the north, I guess. Yeah, definitely from the north, as these models are borrowed from Angband. I don't know if there's a plan for them to change at some point, so that there'll be some Dominion forces commanding that or not. But I've got a bit of a flank gone now, and I'm just trying to deal with what's left of the Wolf Guard, charge in and out. Not many of my cavalry left myself, but just every little helps. Scarab Trappers there. Where are those real nasties? Yeah, the Ash Priests we saw in the siege that I did a while ago, which actually did take place after this battle. Yeah, not immediately after, but later on in this battle. I used my Ash Priests to really chop down some Ents quite effectively, so this is not a fun fight for those Ents to be in, and I think I do realise that and try to pull them out. But all in all, wow, that was cool. was like a... Yeah, we're throwing them all over the place. But this Ent is going to go down. He's got a lot of Ash Priests around him. He's not going to make it. Jeepers sake, that's quite cool. I've never really seen Ents do that. Just sort of really toss them around a bit. But yeah, Ash Priests may be locked morale, but we are going to be surrounding them soon. Whoop, just throwing my own men. But that's not too bad. Just don't want these trappers to come back. Don't want anything to come back, really. Just want to deal with them. Anything hidden over here? What's this? The Mangonel crew. Yeah, as I say, they could be going into a fight and just get some kills, but I think he's hoping that I'll leave that Mangonel free at some point, while the Ash Priests try to reclaim it. And the Ash Priests will be able to deal with just about everything here. It's a big problem with the Green Elves. Like, they do lack a real infantry unit of exceptional skill, of exceptional class. The Ents kind of do make up that role, but, you know, yeah, so it's, when it comes to fighting the Ash Priests man on man, I don't really have a unit to do it, which is quite an unusual situation to be an elf and to be just outskilled by the Orcs, but the Ash Priests are capable of that. Over there, I think I'm just grabbing what's left of the Mangonel crew. And it's just the Ash Priests. So this was, of course, the first time we had seen the Ash Priests in action, and we were pretty damn impressed with them. But now that the Ents have come back, and I've still got some Outriders, we're just overwhelming them. Just get them in, get them stuck from all sides. Hopefully, get them stun locked, and smash them to pieces.
This is a clear victory.
Oh, I love that. Nice, celebrating, you know, power slide from the end. That's pretty cool. And you can see, because of the way that we both constructed our armies, I went really quite numbers heavy, whereas Blindness went really cavalry heavy. And I think the map definitely benefited me for that. But, you know, in my previous fight, my siege where I played the Dominion, I brought like 4,000 men. You know, I was really horde heavy. Whereas Dominion can, when you do go heavy into the wargs, the Dominion can be pretty elite, pretty small. And had it not been for the very kind of confusing map, lots of buildings in place, lots of fields, I think that this could have gone against me. I can't really say too much about the kills, but we're having just a look down them. You see, the sentries did really well. They really paid for themselves. And the Ents were quite nice too. So they suffered 4 casualties and they had 6 left. So yeah, I did lose 2 of them to Mangonel fire, it seems. But overall, any other major standouts there? Spearhost, I like the Spearhost, but they didn't really... The Spearhost did come in later, and they did face up against like the Wolfguard and the Chosen, so I don't blame them too much. Skirmishers there, wreck and shop. But yeah, when you're up against the Dominion, though, you really do want to be getting more kills than the enemy. It would be very strange not to. But yeah, this is my second favourite faction, I think, so far in Silmarilion Total War. And anything else to touch on? I don't think so. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much.